Eledier Alvarez wins a 12-round majority decision over Pascal in a WBC light heavyweight final eliminator. Alvarez's next fight should be against the winner of the Adonis Stevenson Andrzej Fonfara rematch, which is set to take place in a few minutes from now. I'm recording this obviously before that fight has taken place. This was actually quite a decent fight, an interesting fight. It was competitive. Alvarez really, I think, deserved to win the fight, and it was his jab that ultimately made the difference. He was a little more busy than Pascal. Pascal attacked in sporadic flurries, as he tends to in most of his fights. But Alvarez tucked up tight most of the time. He was the taller man, looked like the naturally bigger man, and his jab was consistent throughout the fight. Both guys are low volume in terms of their punch output. Both guys like to fight in bursts, but as I say, Alvarez's jab was consistent throughout. I thought that Pascal looked good in spots, but that's more of a damning indictment of Eledier Alvarez rather than any type of career revival for Pascal, in my view anyway. Styles make fights, obviously, and different fighters have different attributes. But Sergey Kovalev certainly handled Pascal in his two fights way better than Eledier Alvarez did, or Eledier Alvarez. I'm sure I'm butchering his first name. But I have to say that familiarity breeds contempt, and Alvarez and Pascal have apparently sparred hundreds of rounds together because they are stablemates, or sorry, I think they were former stablemates. So they sparred hundreds of rounds together. They're very, very familiar with each other and what they can do, their styles, their attributes, etc. When you've got two fighters who are so familiar, more often than not, it makes for a good fight. But also it can play into both fighters' hands to one degree or another because they know what to expect from the other guy. And that has to be said. There was no shock factor for Pascal going into this fight against Alvarez, who knew exactly who Alvarez was, what he does well, what to watch out for, so on and so forth, how to evade his attacks. So, to be fair to Alvarez, there was that. There was the fact that Pascal had to be very prepared for him because he'd sparred hundreds of rounds with him. But nonetheless, Alvarez is a solid light heavyweight with solid skills, but there's nothing remarkable there. He may be one of those guys who pulls off a big upset at some point because of the fact that he is a good all-rounder with nothing really that stands out. You don't have remarkable hand speed, you don't have remarkable power, you don't have remarkable boxing skills. He's just solid all-round. He doesn't do anything particularly poorly, but doesn't do anything particularly good either. Other than that, nice jab that he does have, which is quite snappy. So in the end, good exchanges throughout the fight, but I felt like Alvarez's jab was the thing that made the difference, and therefore I think that the decision went to the right man. The commentators were actually quite scathing of one of the judges having the fight a draw because it was only a majority decision win for Alvarez. They were quite scathing, particularly Paulie Malignaggi. He thought that Alvarez had won the fight very clearly. But in a fight like that, where the punch output of both men is quite low, I can't really argue too much with one judge having it a draw. I can't really make a song and dance about that because a lot of the rounds were open to interpretation. Pascal was trying to old man Alvarez in a lot of the rounds. He was very low volume until maybe the last minute or 30 seconds of a round. Then he was trying to open up with these explosive bursts and steal the round that way. And in a very quiet round, you can steal rounds doing that. Some judges will reward you for doing that more so than others. So in the end, it was a decent fight, but the right man won. Hopefully, Alvarez, who's been waiting a very long time now for his shot at the WBC belt, light heavyweight belt, hopefully he gets his crack against the winner of Stevenson Fonfara 2 in his next fight. So drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know how you felt about this performance by Alvarez. Let me know how you felt Pascal looked. Where do you see both fighters going from here? Do you want Alvarez to get his shot at the winner of Stevenson versus Fonfara? How do you think he'll do against either one of those guys? And where do you think Pascal should go from here? Do you think he should retire? Do you think he's still got a few good performances left in him? Let's say Andrzej Ward beats Kovalev in the rematch. Would you like to see Pascal versus Andrzej Ward? Drop it all in the comment section below. It's happening, I'm out.